I think you and I will agree, Luke, that sleep is the backbone of wellness.
I like to say that sleep is the only time the body naturally relaxes.
Luke McLeod is a meditation and mindfulness coach who helps the regular punter navigate the world's modern chaos. As a published author himself and a motivational speaker, Luke focuses on emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and personal growth. He's here in the BH studio to talk you through mental clarity in 2025.
Hey there, I'm Luke McLeod, and I'm going to give you my top 5 recommendations of wellness books that you must listen to in 2025. So, John, is it okay if we start with my book?
Naturally.
Are you cool with that?
Let's do it. I read it a year ago, so it's great to be able to do it again, but have your voice in my ear because you've got one of the best voices in the game, I reckon.
Thanks,
but
mate.
For 2025, and I think the audience can speak to this as well, they probably share a similar ambition to me. And I want to focus more in 2025. I want to sleep better. I want to eat better, train harder, and overall focus my mental clarity. There's so many external factors that can contribute to that. But why do you think meditation is the key to it all?
Well, meditation in its basic form is a concentration exercise. It's like the source, or if you're wanting to focus better, it's a practice that really does teach you how to do that. And within the book, I take through a very simple process, step by step, on how to guide people to use meditation to improve their focus, productivity, but also deal with other things which are really important to health and wellness, like trauma, emotions, dealing with anxiety, stress, all of those things, which I think is really, really important to talk about and to deal with in today's life.
What I love most about your book particularly is that you can listen to any chapter you want at any time. You don't have to go cover to cover. You can be out for a run, just pick a random chapter, dive into it, take a little tidbit, and then move on with your life.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted it to be, hence the title, Everyday Enlightenment. So you can turn a page or listen to any part within the book and get something from it every day.
All right, recommendation number 2, Gabby Bernstein.
Yes.
What's she talking about?
Well, I've recently just come across Gabby and her work, and it's really good in the way that I find that she makes the whole topic of wellness very easy to digest. So she talks a lot about becoming your own therapist, and I love the concept behind that. And I think for men in particular, like we mightn't feel that overly comfortable going to see a therapist, which is totally understandable. Gabby breaks it down in a way where you almost talk to yourself in almost like a meditation way to sort out and process different emotions. Like the actual title of the book, Self-Help, is all about helping yourself. And I thought that was really cool, as I said, because not for everyone, but for men, I think it can be a little bit difficult going out and seeing a therapist. And having some tools to be able to do this yourself, I think is a really cool thing. And she explains how to do that within her book really well.
Now, another equally important, significant, I should say, author in the meditation game, Marcus Aurelius. Like-minded, great minds think alike.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. Meditations. Let's go back to that for a second. That's your next recommendation.
Yeah.
I heard he was like almost scribbling little notes in the margins of these books, which was sometimes more like significant or consequential than the words actually on the page.
Yeah.
Where do you even start with a book like that? It feels like it's too big.
Well, it's funny because I don't think he ever intended the book to be published. It was more of just his own personal journal, and it got stumbled across somehow, and it's gone on to become one of the most influential books, I think, on health, wellness, and just overall leveling up within your everyday life. So that's kind of cool in the way that it was found out in that manner.
Yeah.
And it is. It's such a wise book, probably the wisest book I've ever read.
Imagine him sitting there with a wine one afternoon, just writing some stuff down, and then next minute we're listening to it as an audio book. Like you wouldn't even be able to fathom that 2,000 years ago.
I know. And to think that it was written thousands of years ago and it's so relevant still today.
Yeah.
It just goes to the testament of the quality of who he was and what he was writing about at the time.
I love as well that regardless of the language in that, despite being 2,000 years old, as an audiobook, you don't have to be confronted by a lot of prose and language that you might not be familiar with from such a long time ago. And you can kind of just listen to it and take the bits that you resonate with.
Yeah.
And you can not have to overwhelm your mind with the rest.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the audiobook does a really good job of that. It's actually narrated by this really cool old English man.
Yeah.
And he just has that
Grandfatherly sort of voice.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's a powerful, very wise overall book for wellness. Highly, highly recommend.
Something for everyone.
Yeah. So for my fourth recommendation, I thought I'd throw something a little bit different out there. While I was researching for this, I noticed on Audible that there's this whole category section around sleep, and they're like just little tidbits and audio clippings, sleep stories around how to sleep better, whether it's a sleep story that you can listen to by someone famous, or a little meditation, or just talking about the benefits of sleep. It was pretty cool to find that, and I thought it would be worth throwing in there for this.
I was having a look before. There's hundreds of
Yeah.
short little episodes to listen to. So
Heaps.
if you struggle to fall asleep, which I think you and I will agree, Luke, that sleep is the backbone of wellness.
I like to say that sleep is the only time the body naturally relaxes. Whereas we'll experience stress every day of our lives. That's inevitable. But we don't experience any type of relaxation naturally other than when we sleep.
Wow.
So prioritize it, do whatever you can to get as much sleep as possible. And these little sleep stories on Audible, I find it just epic for that.
Also practically, like if you can fall asleep listening to something rather than reading or consuming a screen and it's just, in your head, out cold. That's so much better for the way your body turns down at the end of the day.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of research out there around exposure to screen time just before bed and what that does in affecting the quality of your sleep. So it's a perfect alternative to not having to deal with that by just listening to something. You don't have to deal with those problems. All right, so my final book recommendation is The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. And it's actually quite a spiritual book, so don't let the title put you off. And I found it a really inspiring book on how to live with purpose, get the most out of your life. And he talks about how to balance masculine and feminine energies. And again, don't be put off talking about feminine energy. He puts it in a way which is essential of getting the most out of life and in relationships. And I found that really cool in a way. And I mean, it was written in 97.
I was going to say this book was written almost 30 years ago. And
Yeah.
the evolutions of masculinity since then have been quite a topic in popular culture. But there's still some nuggets of wisdom there as far as emotional vulnerability go, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a testament to any great book, as we just spoke about with Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. I mean, that's thousands of years old. And I feel like this is also one that's going to stand the test of time for generations to come. It's a wonderful book, and it's needed now more than ever.
There you have it, Luke McLeod's 5 for 2025 in partnership with Audible. Wellness, I mean, if you're not mastering it after that chat, I don't know who is. So thank you for coming in, man.
Thanks,
it's been
buddy.
eye-opening, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
My man.
Cheers. Give him a follow on Instagram if you haven't already. Give BH a follow. Hit the link in bio or in the description from wherever you're watching if you want to see more, watch more, or read more.